When you're a kid, you believe in all these amazing stories and mythical creatures and fairies, and everybody else has to grow up and be sensible, and we just carry on believing.
Hi. So we have in this film this exquisitely rendered creature from a performance perspective and interacting with the Ochi. How did you all pull it off? First, the actresses and actors, and as a director in sort of directing your actors and actresses in performance with something that's not real.
Cool.
I'll go first.
Well, I didn't have that much to do with the creatures, but I was around it, and I think it's a beautiful collaboration between the very extraordinary imagination, which is on the end of this row here, and John Nolan, who created the creatures, it was fascinating to watch, and it felt very real when we were working with them.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it also makes our jobs, I feel like, a lot easier because you really feel like you're interacting with something, and especially when you're working with practical effects, it's always just better. And obviously there's great, visual effects and things where you have to interact with a tennis ball or whatever, and it ends up being amazing still, but there's just something to be said about amazing craftsmanship and being able to really feel that in the scene, I feel like really helps. But, yeah.
It was funny when I read the script, I thought that I wasn't sure if I was gonna actually work with a creature or if it's gonna be I don't know, maybe just a man speaking to me or whatever. And so when I saw it was funny because I started to actually have a bond with it, and people would have to pull me off of the creature because I felt it was so real. And it wasn't supposed to go into water, for example. And we were having the water scenes. I really wanted to go and dive with it or something. So it was really, I had a bond with it, It was it was like a friend.
I was just so impressed with everyone and how they interacted with all the Ochi. We had the adult Ochi were actually little people in suits with animatronic heads, and then the baby Ochi is operated by 5 puppeteers hovering around it, and then 2 puppeteers with remote controls off camera. And with all of that going on, it was just still a very direct connection that each actor had with the creatures. And I feel like there was a bit of can the creature match their performances? My job was really, for them, it was writing and casting and then letting them rip, and they all deliver such incredible performances. But with the Ochi, it's really 50 takes. It's let's really get that. Let's make sure the Ochi is delivering what they're delivering. And I wish Willem could have joined us today, but he's shooting right now. But in particular, there was a moment where Willem has to face off with Baby Ochi and share a scene directly in a long, unbroken 2-shot. And, I think the whole shoot, he didn't know what to think of the puppets, and then until he sat in and had to do the scene with them. And it felt like at the end of it, something had changed in his mind about the nature of acting, that 7 people could create this performance that he felt he was present with. Was a really beautiful moment. Yeah.
Since this film deals with mythical creatures, I'm curious if any of you believe in all of these mythical creature spottings that people see from Bigfoot, and then we see the videos and they kind of look real, but
they're fun. They're definitely fun to think about. I don't know if I necessarily believe them, but I do root for the people that are out there trying to find them.
I think it's what acting is.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you believe in all these amazing stories and mythical creatures and fairies, and everybody else has to grow up and be sensible, and we just carry on believing. That's what acting is. You just.
And we've got this great book that Isaiah showed us last night. We've got this small book that speaks all about the Ochi, and I don't know, the footsteps in there and like how you talk to them and stuff. So I think if you showed someone that, they probably believe they're real.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
Totally.
it's like
Yeah, I come from the redwood forest in Santa Cruz, Northern California, and you know, right in my town is a place called like the Bigfoot Discovery Museum. So, and there's a map with like pins everywhere of locals that have called in sightings to the museum, and I grew up kind of in a bit of a hippie commune compound in the forest, and one of the older guys there, who was a friend of my parents, he had a little shack, and he was deep into what he would only call Sasquatch or North American great apes. And I'd been hearing about it since I was a kid, and of course, like everyone, you just go, ha, 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 ha. And then in my 20s, I started getting a little bit deeper into it, and I've actually given some talks. You know, I've been invited to like animation festivals, and they said, you can talk about whatever you want. And I've just given like a talk about like hard evidence for Sasquatch.
That's awesome.
I myself am an agnostic. I just find I find it a really joyful subject. So
Yeah.
Yeah, every time I see video, I'm like, unless Isaiah is behind this video,
Yeah, exactly.
this is really effective. It's convincing me. This might be Bigfoot.
yeah.
Finn, you have some years on Helena. What kind of career advice have you given her?
Oh, she's doing great. She does not need my my advice. But well, we got to hang out a lot, and it was great. I mean, you know, it was, you know, obviously I grew up as like a young actor, and I'd hoped that, you know, me being a little older, that, you know, it was a comfortable, good experience on set. And
it was.
and there were a lot of, you know, there were a lot of the other kids in the Romanian kids that we cast for the sort of militia. It was great to be around, you know, all these guys, because they're all so incredible. I mean, Helena's so unbelievably sensitive and smart, and like, you know, one of the best actors I've ever worked with. So it really, no, it's true, but it's really, so it was really, you know, I had nothing to say really, because I just was like, you know, I felt like she really had a handle on everything, and I had a real confidence about her, especially in the role that I thought that really impressed me. So
Thank you.
yeah, not a crazy amount. Yeah.
What would be the most surprising thing to learn about Emily or Willem, who's not here, from all three of you?
Surprising.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think. Well, I think like with Emily, with you, I think like I had seen you in so many films and stuff, and like had seen you in obviously like a lot of like more art films and stuff, and I think I felt like such a comfort when I met you, because it like I felt so like that you were just like a really well-adjusted, great person. And I'm not trying to what's up, but it was like to me it was like, you know, you meet a lot of actors that are in like really amazing movies, and you sometimes, you know, if they're older, like it can be intimidating, because you don't know, like, you know, they've had so much history in the industry and stuff, and you don't know, and like, you know, like spending time with Emily was like it was the best. So I mean, just that, yeah, she's just like.
And I think, I mean,
Awesome.
I don't think that's surprising, because
No,
but like you look very nice. But like so it's not surprising to say that you were like lovely, but it's when I came on set and I knew she was gonna play my mom, I always feel like it's very important to like really get a bond and get a feeling. And I always feel like the first time you see a person is like the biggest image you'll always keep in your head. And I still remember I was like, you know, looking to your eyes, and they were so kind. And I was like, you know, she's gonna play my mom, and she's gonna be like a real mom, and she is mumming me sometimes a little bit. So that was like, that's not surprising, but it was just really, you know, lovely to work with her, and also just here going everywhere around. She's always with me and parenting me a little bit.
there is a maternal, yeah.
It's one of the great joys for me of doing a film that's sort of, you know, a lot of young people and people starting out in their careers, and we were up this wild mountain in Romania where no human being should really go. I mean, it was insanely vertiginous kind of craziness.
I think the road was even blocked, right,
And
when we went up.
but just what an adventure to go on with all these, people in just starting out their lives, and they're going to always remember this. And yeah, it was thrilling. And I feel with Willem, we have, I didn't know him before this, but we have we've worked with a lot of a similar kind of people along the way. And I just felt like we could have a conversation like that about how we felt about things and the industry and what we felt about film. And, it was, that was a very easy, just slotting in. Yeah.
They can't get you out of the woods, Finn, between Stranger
I know.
Things and this film.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here for it. I'm still here. It's
Can you
good.
tell us anything about just what now that it's done, the final day, saying goodbye on Stranger?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, no, it was incredibly emotional, obviously, because it's like the last 10 years of my life, and especially also for the creators who the Duffer Brothers started when they were 30 and they're 40 now, and so everyone sort of had their like a long journey and all shared it together.
Half your life, isn't it?
Yeah. As a kid, my whole childhood was there, and so it was sort of the Toy Story 3 moment of kind of leaving your toys behind a little bit. So it was really special, and we sort of had last year we shot for sort of a Lord of the Rings style year-long thing, shoot, and so it was like a very, it was a great way to go out and like very intense, but I feel like couldn't have ended better, and this is the first movie that that I'm promoting since it's almost feels like post-graduation or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be here also talking about something that is a movie that I've been passionate about for a long time, so happy for it to be out now, and I'm excited for just everything to come out, I guess.
So among our 2 questions that I ask everyone, we've seen the expansion of storytelling through new and diverse mediums over the recent years. What formats and distribution channels, with formats and distribution channels ever evolving, what do you see for the future of audio storytelling?
Oh.
Audio storytelling?
Yes, because
Not
we're in the
movies.
Audible lounge.
Okay. I think there's a real deep history with audio dramas. Obviously, I think
Yeah.
there have always been I think an appetite for them. I think about the original War of the Worlds and stuff, and I think that there's a lot of stuff a lot of stories you can tell that aren't obviously a visual medium, but I think it's definitely it seems like it's a medium that I think is evolving and growing, and I think can probably tell a lot of interesting, cool stories.
As a parent of 2 teenagers, I think it's a very, very healthy antidote to the sort of, endless dopamine hit that just scrolling is training brains to just be led, and listening to a story just allows your imagination to take its own path.
Yeah, it's very different also, I think from watching movies, because you can have your own visions and you have your own images, and anyone who hears an audio will think of something else and will have a different kind of movie playing in their head. So I think what voice actors do is great. I've been to a lot of studios, and I always think it's great that they do all of these sounds and just walking casually. That's looking at them doing that is so funny because it looks so weird, kind of, right? Mm-hmm. But it's great. Then later you hear it and it sounds so real. So I think that's a totally different and amazing job for people to do, voice acting in the studio, literally not seeing anything but just your text. I think that's great.
Yeah, I think books on tape, which have been around for a while, are a force for good in this world, especially as reading a book becomes a rarer and rarer activity. But it's really important that fiction have a way to reach younger people, especially, and people who just don't have time to read, and people who need to be doing dishes and laundry, but also want to be reading a book at the same time. That's how it fits into my life. It's just you know, it allows me to absorb more fiction than I otherwise would, and that's a net positive. Yeah.